Alright, so now we're looking at the ColorSource AV faceplate front panel. Just want to walk through a few things with you. This is the typical configuration, what you're going to see when the console fires up, and it's showing all of the patched channels currently. So with that, any lights that are hung in your space and your LEDs should all have a corresponding channel, but there is one channel that's a little different. On this board is channel 1. On a couple of the boards that I program is channel 40, and that is the constant power or the relay power for the front of house fixtures. That's that utility circuit that has to be on for the new LEDs to work. So in this case, in this school, it's actually channel 1. It is on with the feeder. Now you can go across the top of the board here, and there's some buttons that you can touch. All of these are, you can touch all of them. There's a help button. This one brings up some different parameters that you can get into. Volume, if you're using this to play back audio cues, which I wouldn't use this board for that. I would strictly use it as a lighting board. You can call me, we can talk about it, and I explain why. Playbacks, you can touch on that. It's going to bring up a playback screen. You can touch on cues. It's going to bring up a cue screen and crossfader. This button, or this little screen over here, tells you what cue you're actually in at the moment and what cue is up next. You have a manual fader that you can raise and lower. Just, again, it's a touch screen as everything else. This takes us back to our regular home screen. Takes us to our color picker, and you have a couple of different choices here. You can go in here that looks like a rainbow, and you can just touch and choose a color, or you can go here and you can choose some primary colors that they have, and you can actually save colors that you want to use, a color palette that you would like to use in there. Beam and position doesn't affect us in Shawnee, Michigan, because we don't have any lights that use that in our middle schools. Those are for moving fixtures. So we can get out of that. Cue list, again, it's another way to bring up the cue list that we had up here. Takes us back in our cue stack, pauses a cue from playback, and this actually plays the cue. All right, so that's the touch panel here. And then obviously over here you've got faders of various kinds to turn on different fixtures and different lighting piece of equipment that you have. You can see here when I turn that up, that turns that light on. That light also comes up. If you're dealing with lights that have color involved, it will also bring up, and it will show you the color here of the color that's been chosen for that particular fixture on stage. And the last thing to show you, bring you back down here, these faders. If you're going to use your board in playback mode, which we'll discuss in another video, this fader will need to be up. That will need to be lit. Now you're in playback mode, and all of your faders on this side of the board all act as individual cues. Okay, so you can control them manually throughout the show. That has to be up for playbacks to work. This is in cue mode, so again, that has to be up, and now you're going to use the play button, and you're going to go forward through your cues, or you can go backwards through your cues here, and you can set them up to go manually. Sometimes you can put sequences in there, you can do all kinds of things with that, but this is an automated way to run your show rather than in playback or manually adjusting every fader on the board for a cue, which wouldn't be a good, smart way to go for most shows. So all right, let's dig in. Next video, we'll deal with playbacks.